Barcelona's funniest week is back. From October 31st to November 9th, the Barcelona Fringe Festival is taking over the city, with over 300 shows including stand-up, improv, sketch, even live game shows. Catch some of the best international acts and hidden gems from here and abroad, with shows in English, Spanish, Catalan, French, Italian, and more. 10 days, unlimited laughs, one unforgettable festival. Get your tickets now at barcelonafringefestival.com. Barcelona Fringe Festival. Something for everyone.
So even though we face the difficulties of today and tomorrow, I still have a dream. It is a dream deeply rooted in the American dream. I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up, live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal. I have a dream that one day on the red hills of Georgia.
Hey, babies. I have a dream too, and it's all en plan como it's a few minutes past 11 o'clock, and you know, hello, children, you're here with our expat escapologists. Who are we?
Who are we?
Who the fuck are we, y'all?
We're back in the studio. I'm Rob Sauce America. This is my good buddy Lucas.
Hey, everybody, what's up? We're here burning out on Al Gore's interwebs and all around the world from downtown Barcelona on a balmy day. It's a bit cooler now.
It's raining so much in Barcelona now. The drought is dead. I saw a man with a beard herding animals off to a boat in the ocean. Somebody should look into that. But yeah, it's really a lot of rain.
What? You never know.
Yeah,
this is Spain, or as we say here, this is Catalonia. On some. And anyway, we're here, your newbie expats and go-to podcast for everything that we love. And I like to add in a little light bitch fest that we do here from the safe harbor of Barcelona and Europe, because honestly, it kind of is a safe harbor.
Absolutely, it is, and it's good for the soul. You know, it's good for the soul. And it's important to actually talk about things that are happening when people in power don't want you to talk about them.
And we can do it from a safe harbor, as we say, because this ish has been real the past few days. And we haven't been here for a month because we've had family in town. You've had mother-in-law in town.
Every single weekend, I've been busy for a month. It's
you were gone
insane.
for
wedding,
one of them. For
the wedding.
We won't talk about that, but we were just jamming live here in the Technoville. And then my father was here for a week, so shout out to all the birthday babies and shout out to dads and moms.
The coolest thing I did, have you ever been to a wedding in Sagrada Familia? My friend's wedding was in Sagrada Familia. It was in the crypt. It was actually beautiful. I'd never been. Yeah, never been there. It was so awesome. Yeah. I've been to Sagrada Familia.
Man. The people don't know. But okay,
Absolutely.
So we live in Barcelona, so everybody knows that Sagrada Familia is, I believe it's a heritage site. It certainly should be one of the world's wonders.
Yeah, it is.
But
no, it's a UNESCO World Heritage Site. And because it's one of the most beautiful churches on the planet. I mean, by far.
I didn't know you were in the crypt. Please do tell.
I just gotta save some stuff for the show, right?
Awesome. Did you see skeletons and shit?
Yeah, a lot of skeletons. No, it's just a normal church. You can see the crypt when you walk into the Sagrada Familia. It's right there where people pray, and you just look underneath. And there's a whole separate entrance for it, though, which is pretty cool. Okay. So, like, we're all off to the side where the billion tourists are, like, lined up for one thing, and then we get in there. And it's really good. Then there's this whole little archway in there where you kind of see a lot of, like, the pillars and everything like that. So we took pictures, wedding pictures.
I've been inside one time, and I never even paid attention to the crypt.
Yeah, you go in there. It's over by the altar, and you just look underneath, and that's the crypt. There's a whole separate little church. I'm pretty sure Gaudi lived there at some point. Towards the end when he was,
his spirit still
finishing
resides.
up. Yeah, I hope so. Man.
That's why. See, and that's yet another beauty of things that we can share from you from our expat escapologist point of view. Now, as we continue with our manly bitch fist, we also want you supporting our mission with a permitted condition by following and liking our socials at Instagram and Blue Sky. You can catch us at
The Way Shit Works now with Lucas and Rob.
That's right. And head over to YouTube where you can catch us with your eye holes as well. But for censored reasons, it's The Way Ish ISH Works Now podcast. And so, Yeah, Bish, grab a seat, grab your cup of poison.
Check out our lineup. Our collection so far is growing. I think it's this episode 9. I'm pretty proud of us for that.
I think
we're
we're either hitting 9 or 10. So we got a lot of these. The minute we get these 10 full, we're going to be throwing everything back onto Spotify and Apple and all that good stuff as well.
That's the plan.
Because we've been on YT and on the social media networks. But it is time to, Rob, your point, stick it away, man. Because there's been so much since the last session.
So, Lucas, what do you want to talk about?
I believe that you said the first thing you wanted to talk about were these protests that we actually beamed in with you guys and a few other people from Malaga as well last week.
That was incredible. So, Lucas, you were so kind enough to host myself and my friend Carrie down in Malaga, who were live streaming to you at the setup of our protest. Here in the country of Spain, we had 3 separate protests, Madrid, Barcelona, and Malaga, with about 1,000 people between the 3 of them.
Yeah.
And this protest was in solidarity with the No Kings protest, but our protests were No Tyrants. It was avoiding brand confusion and different types of things.
Well, the fact we have a king here too.
Yeah, I mean, what's the point of us? What's the point of us doing that? Yeah, there was no upside in us doing that. So more to the point, no tyrants, no dictators, no fascists is our point. And so we made that the angle that we went by. And it was beautiful. In Barcelona, we had 300 people, but dozens of people kept flowing in and out. It was really nice. They'd come, they'd join chants, they'd take handouts, they'd take selfies. So it really grew pretty organically. And we had amazing speakers. I mean, we had scientific researchers, we had educators, we had activists, we had people who moved their family, uprooted their family because of Trump. We had American members from Chicago, LA, and Oregon, which, Trump's all over those states right now, trying to wreck their economies with the military. It's a beautiful thing. We all felt really energized. We talked about steps to go forward, how you can actually make a difference, and it meant a lot.
That's where I want to go. That's the tip I'm on, Rand.
Absolutely.
Before we go into all of this stuff, and we're also going to be doing some little debunking stuff because we feel like it. But
it's a new faction of the show.
Can you give me a little bit of hopium in reference to some of those things that you mentioned?
Well, anyone can watch my 9-minute long speech because I opened the whole thing with it. But I basically got into a few key elements that we're making actual waves on. Number 1 being boycotts. ABC had the quickest corporate turnaround in corporate history because we, the people, stood up and cost them so much money that they immediately flipped on it, even with the threat of the President of the United States at their back. Target is on sales calls wishing they went broke. Target is on sales calls wishing they went woke because they're going broke.
And that's right. Woke versus broke 1,000. They just announced yesterday they're going to be laying off 1,000 workers right before the holidays.
Stop attacking DEI as a corporate policy to pander to a president. And another thing, Elon Musk, if you haven't heard this story, has to buy back his own ugly trucks because Tesla sales of Tesla automobiles are in the trash. We did that because we have power. I also talked about the power of voting, how critical it is for our segment, the Americans living abroad, to be actively involved in elections as often as legally and physically possible, because it's just absolutely necessary. And if you think it's not important as an American living abroad, go look at the 50, 60, 500 ways Republicans are trying to undercut mail-in voting, which directly takes away our power, our right to vote. So I talked about a lot of that. I talked about what this administration is doing, the damage it's doing, and how we can fight, how we beat them in 2020 under worse odds. It was a healthier, stronger Trump with a smarter, better team under worse odds, and we still kicked his ass. So to have hope.
Thank you. Okay, because when you say worse odds, is it because of COVID?
Of course it's because of COVID. He had the COVID. We had normal people in our coalition that were terrified of getting sick with COVID without vaccines, without PPE, without any kind of treatments that were available at the time. And we still kicked his ass good in 2020. And I want to just remind people of that in 2 weeks, we have elections. Virginia and New Jersey have massive elections coming that will completely alter their state governments and put it on a path to actually do things that matter to fight what I consider an aspiring fascist regime in the White House.
Which elections in Virginia, if I may ask?
Virginia is going to be your governor and your normal statewide races. It's all statewide. There's no federal races this coming election day.
Right.
Jersey statewide, Virginia statewide, and then California is voting on their ballot initiative to tie their redistricting plans to Republican redistricting plans, which is a critical thing because Republicans are doing what gerrymandering right now is insane.
Okay, and for any of our, we do have an international audience. So gerrymandering is the redistricting of, as we say here, zonas y comarcas, zones and counties where they actually, what they basically do typically is more Republican-leaning areas zone out people that are typically white, brown, black, or Asian,
Right,
so that
that's
they
the point.
don't necessarily have the same infrastructure to vote in an area that's going to, benefit and represent them.
Cracking and packing is a very common term, which is Republicans will take a map that looks like this and then divvy it out like any lines that they want to make exactly the exact number of people. So in North Carolina, they devastated the Democratic Party's representation in districts in the state just the other day when every state holding office member in North Carolina, or damn near every single one, is a Democrat. Donald Trump has only won that state by 2% or so, and now the districts in the genuinely purple state of North Carolina are overwhelmingly Republican because they're supermajority in the state houses, which they got through gerrymandering in the first place, decided to make it so because Donald Trump is trying to help rig the midterms by doing illegal in some cases it's illegal, but it's definitely immoral and it's definitely a power grab, mid-decade redistricting. There's always redistricting with the census.
So let's talk about that, because if it's not illegal, but we definitely know it's not immoral.
In some cases.
Okay. Would it have to be then codified and enshrined to make it completely illegal? That
So there are elements of the Voting Rights Act that limit this kind of thing to dilute the power of black and Hispanic voters, because obviously there's a history of this. But the Supreme Court, which is overwhelmed by radical right-wingers, has the voting rights in its crosshairs, the Voting Rights Act in its crosshairs, and wants to move to completely devastate it this year, I believe. Wants to move to completely devastate the Voting Rights Act, which will legalize basically all of this.
Okay, why do you say you think that?
Because they already did it. They ended preclearance, which back in Obama's term, which was the idea that these states with a proven long history of diluting black, brown, people of color's voting power needed to get pre-clearance from the Department of Justice whenever they wanted to redistrict their states. The Supreme Court gutted that during the Obama term, and then look what happened after that. The Republican Party absolutely devastated the representation of people of color in their states. And now the Roberts Supreme Court, which is the biggest farce of all Supreme Courts, is now going to say we're just going to end this entire law entirely by gutting it. Not like by ending it. They're going to gut the very provisions of the law that make it work. And then that will basically give every single Republican state legislature the freedom to completely dilute all of their voters. So since they are doing this in bad faith, there is no choice. Democrats and blue states have no choice but to tie similar redistricting revisions to their states. I'm sorry, there's nothing else we can do.
There's actually nothing to be sorry about. If you mother effers didn't change the rules and the game book, or just throw the game book out, we would not have to be doing this and commencing these types of acts.
And that's what the provision in California says. Republicans stop it, we end it. Republicans end it, we end it. Republicans do it, we do it. Right, and it's up for a vote. The most important thing in this election is also possibly that. I would say also a bunch of seats on the Pennsylvania State Supreme Court are up for grabs. That is a massive one because that's a huge, huge, huge swing state. The Republican Supreme Courts around the country basically do whatever Trump wants.
That's right.
So we need actual real jurists who will follow the law, follow the Constitution, and do what's right. And so I think Pennsylvania, Virginia, New Jersey, and California are the massive states. But then, a little over 1 year from now, the midterms, no Trump on the ballot. Republicans have to run on their big ugly bill. Republicans have to run on the government shutdowns. Republicans have to run on their nothing that they've given anyone. And I believe if we stay unified, we stay organized, we can do a lot of damage in the midterm. Something akin to 1994, where it was a complete wipeout the other way.
I do think also that the rallies and everything, the protest marches and whatnot, and over 7 million people apparently attended in the United States of America, that's just the beginning. It has to just be the beginning as we lead into the year coming up.
100%.
Because if we falter in that aspect, and everybody needs to also, side note, everybody needs to make sure after January 1st that you are re-registered to vote, get your ish 100%. Together. Remember, you can also do that if you're one of the 16 million plus outside of this country at votefromabroad.org. If you are a member of the Democratic Party, you can also get all that information at Democrats Abroad. But going
matter
back
what,
to that,
it's
it cannot
nonpartisan.
stop. This has to be the beginning of that.
No one says that it is. There have been debrief meetings and plans going forward to
Yeah.
what to actually do. There's a lot of eyes on this election day in 2 weeks. That's a big one. And there's a lot of eyes on making sure that our representatives in Congress understand this government shutdown. I mean, we're going to get into the government shutdown, and that'll be another conversation. So let's save it. But I mean,
Okay.
the idea is that those are the two main focuses of the post-protest. I would also say 7 million is nowhere close to the number because not everyone's going to go on a website.
I feel like it was very freaking
It was
small.
no. It is very large. I would argue the exact opposite way. So the idea is that 7 million people, and it was an extrapolation of people.
No, the
that
number they were
registered.
saying was very
Yeah.
small.
Oh, gotcha.
I mean,
Confused.
we had hundreds of thousands in some of these cities, or at least
Yep.
very near.
So the thing is, not everybody's going to go on a website and put their personal information on it. They're going to just go. And secondarily, what happens is when people tend to see these things in public, like happened with our protest, they join. So somebody who never even heard of the protest before. So that 7 million number, I think, is very low. I think that it's millions and millions more. And the thing is, we need to get to that project 3.5%.
Yep.
We need to get to just under a hair under 12 million. And we're trending that way. 3 million, 5 million, 7
And
million.
what would that do? What does that give us?
That no aspiring autocracy or actual autocracy has succeeded as long as 3.5% of the population have a continuous resistance against them. This is a demonstrated principle described
I've
by
heard this
historians.
before, too.
That's
Yeah.
why I call it Project 3.5%.
Okay,
They
I
got their
love it.
Project 2025. I got Project 3.5%.
And all of this is happening, ladies and gentlemen, and for our expat and local communities. All of this is happening at the same time that the government is going into its fourth week of shutdown. In fact, today, as we record, is day 25, I believe, of the government shutdown, which means that scores of hundreds of thousands of people are continuing to have to work, specifically military, TSA, airport agents, things of that nature, park rangers, without getting paid. We have thousands of people lining up every day at food banks across the country, in that country of the United States of America, which is supposed to be the most profitable and, of course, richest country in the world, and they cannot afford to eat because if you have 2, 3, 4 mouths to feed and you're working in the military but you're not getting paid, what the hell are you going to do? Now, all of this is happening while the 535 members of the United States Congress are still getting paid. However, it's 534 because one of them has not been sat.
It's another thing. So that all ties in. So we can go into now
Please.
is shutdown time,
Exactly,
right?
man.
So here, I completely agree that what's happening is the most disgraceful thing. When you see military members, service members, when you see TSA, government employees on food lines while this president is cutting checks to Argentina, which is a whole different conversation. But this government shutdown doesn't need to happen. Let's explain two things that are happening immediately. Number one, Puppet Boy Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, is not even letting the House show up. Only Democrats are actually there in Washington, D.C.
I want to say really quickly, Puppet Master, did you call him Puppet Man?
Puppet Boy.
Puppet Boy.
Because he's a puppet boy.
And DL Demon Queen, because he's a DL Demon Queen. Continue, please, sir. I'm sorry.
Perhaps, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't.
honey.
I wouldn't. You know, a lot of people are saying it.
I've
a
got
lot
the
of people
grinder
are saying
text
it.
right here on my phone. I'm going to read them later.
A lot of people are saying it. So yeah, that's sort of my point. That the government shutdown is being exacerbated in a way that is unnecessary, and it's completely the fault of Republicans.
Yep.
There is no reason whatsoever that the House should not be in session right now. There is no reason whatsoever that the party in power that runs the White House, the U.S. House, and the U.S. Senate, and the frickin' Supreme Court can't negotiate to make sure that tens of millions of Americans don't lose their health care in months now. And what I mean by that is we talked with Charles Gaba, if you remember our conversation.
Yes, Lord.
The subsidies are over at the end of this year. If you are on an Affordable Care Act subsidized plan, your subsidies are gone. And a lot of people that are covered under those plans will lose those plans. A lot of people that are getting subsidies on those plans will lose those subsidies. And everyone else's prices will go up.
Exactly.
Because the healthcare industry, you know how awesome they are, will adjust their pricing to be the new normal when tens of millions of people are looking for plans. They'll do the corporate thing, which is jack up their prices.
Exactly.
So everyone will be screwed over with these subsidies on a cliff. And Republicans have absolutely no plan. It's been, when did Obama, was it 2010 Obamacare ACA was signed? Maybe 2009? 2012. They have had all this time, well over a decade, to come out with a Republicans make healthcare affordable plan, and they've got dog shit.
And how many times did that mother effer say, Drumpf, say, we've got a plan
2 weeks.
coming?
2 weeks. It's coming in 2 weeks. Our healthcare plan in 2 weeks. One time,
9 years later.
One time he had his other like horrible press secretary, the first original horrible one. She brought a bunch of empty binders and were like, "This is the healthcare plan," as like a photo op to one of the news programs.
Do you mean the governor of Arkansas now?
No, oh no.
Huckabee Sanders?
No, the blonde one. Huckabee Sanders, the governor of Arkansas, is also a complete farce. But no. She was the one after.
The Fox News anchor now.
Yeah. She brought out a bunch of like binders. Were like, "Here's the healthcare plan," and then they actually looked in the binders, and it was basically nothing.
They love those damn binders. Remember the Epstein binders?
Yeah. Well, speaking about Epstein's the reason why. So let's
You
tie it back.
already know.
The reason why the House also isn't in session is because they cannot swear in this 218th vote for the discharge petition.
Power to the people, Arizona.
Great woman. She's making these amazing videos like, "I can't log into the internet. I can't use a photocopier. I need to be sworn in to do these things."
And the GOP demon queen, Speaker of the House, said she needs to be doing her work. She needs to be going online. He has the audacity to say, well, he's collecting a paycheck for not doing a goddamn thing.
She's not collecting anything. Yeah, Puppet Boy Mike Johnson. I've never seen a Speaker of the House be a full-blown puppet of the president before. And Mike Johnson is absolutely that because he can't afford to lose his job. So he is debasing himself. He is lying through his teeth. Our Puppet Boy, radical right Speaker of the House, lying through his teeth, telling lies that a fifth grader could debunk. Which is just insane. Every single day, we just need to call him Liar Mike Johnson. They say Lion Ted.
You mean like the fifth grader child that he has that he took to marry her to Jesus till she gets... Did you hear about this shit?
No, I know that him and his son check on their porn to make sure they're not using porn.
A few years ago, he took his preteen daughter to...
Oh, you mean a purity ball, that kind of thing?
Purity ball.
Yeah, you know more about that than me. That's a cultural thing, isn't it?
It's a cultural thing because that is ridiculous. Where they pledge themselves to their daddies till their daddy can marry them off to another man that Jesus picked for them. You know, that Jew that everybody hates. That shit.
They hate to follow his they hate to follow his words. They
also hate Jews apparently, but then they worship one. So please remind yourselves when you're praying, "Oh Jesus." Yeah.
According to their group chats, they definitely hate Jews. They love Nazis, according to their group chats. Sorry to throw that in there.
No, don't be sorry.
Stay on topic.
We can't be sorry, not sorry. I don't know if it was Selena or Demi who sang that, but we're not sorry.
It's so many horrible things. It's impossible to... We have a whole brand new format that we're working on. It's like, oh, remember that other horrible thing? And then the other horrible thing? And then the other horrible thing? Yeah, all the Republican group leaders in their 20s and 30s have pro-Hitler group chats. We just forgot about it. Sorry. So back to the government shutdown. Yep. Another thing that's keeping the government shutdown happening is that the U.S. Senate does not actually need to have a filibuster. It's not constitutional. An argument that right-wingers are making is that they don't have the 60 votes for the continuing resolution to keep the government open because there is a filibuster in the Senate.
True.
But that doesn't need to exist. And also, we can get it.
Okay.
Because you can filibuster it. So the idea is that you have those filibuster-proof majority in the Senate for 60 votes. That's the only way to do it. It was a completely manufactured bullshit. It wasn't what the founders didn't create it. This is only 100 years old. It's not necessary. When you own both the House and the Senate, getting a magic 8 more seats, there's nothing to it. I despise the filibuster, but they can do away with the filibuster and feed military and pay the military. They don't want to. They also don't need to actually do that. They can change Senate rules. And actually get this passed as well. They can create a whole new funding package. There's a lot of ways that Republicans can make this shutdown end, and they don't want to do it because they want the government shutdown. That's what they want. The Republicans want it, which is why I was scared about it last time when they wanted to do it 6 weeks into Trump's term, which was the most horrible time to do a government shutdown, and we had nothing to stand on when we did it. And now we're doing it for healthcare.
I love this because while brother was talking, I was looking something up because filibuster, it always goes back to something from my uni days where it actually comes from the Spanish and French filibuster, or the Dutch vrijbuiter. And in the 19th century, what this is used for from that time up until recently, it was for freeloaders. Freebooters and pirates. That's what it referred to.
Oh, wow. A little history lesson?
Freebooters and pirates who would take over a ship and, I forget that, commandeer a ship and take over it.
Yeah.
That's what this is about. So that when you think about it in its origins of etymologically, This goes back to mother effers who are being pirates to try to do this stuff because it's exactly what, and I think the GOP is very much that. But
the Republicans have used the government shutdown as leverage, the pain and suffering of a government shutdown as leverage when they're in the minority to gut more government services for people. That's always been their end. So it's not that. So Democrats are not signing on to this death by 1,000 cuts continuing resolution, this radical right continuing resolutions, because that's what they want. They'll fund the government and keep it open as long as you let us cut it and undermine it every single step of the way.
to give this to billionaires.
Yeah, Democrats have an actual bill to keep the government open that doesn't include all that and also continues the extremely necessary, extremely popular Affordable Care Act subsidies.
Because also that would kick off nearly 22 million people from the health.
Yeah, as I was saying before, they would. So it's they're
17 to
varying
22,
levels.
we're not sure
It's
yet.
varying levels of subsidy necessity. So like the Affordable Care Act subsidies for people that it depends on the income level. But if you make $80,000 a year and you have 3 kids, and all of your plans are Affordable Care Act subsidy plans, all those are going to jack up. All those are going to jack
How
up.
do you afford that shite?
Right. No.
Or a private mutual insurance as well.
Also, don't tell me you can give ICE $100 billion and not pay for healthcare subsidies in the most astronomically cost healthcare country in the world.
True that.
Don't tell me you can't.
60-second debunking. We're going to go from that. Should we do it or not?
Let's do it at the end.
Okay.
Because what this travels right into is while the government is shut down and while the military are on food banks and while government employees are at food banks, Donald Trump is doing a little renovation, isn't he? Can you tell us about that, Lucas? This little renovation that Donald Trump decided to do without going through the legally mandated channels.
Yes, we definitely can. Typically, what if any renovations has to happen within the United States administration, you have to get approval from Congress. In fact, Congress has the power of the purse, and that is what you do in the United States government. And in most democratic or social democratic countries, that's how you do it. They have to mandate that money.
And they set up a board for historic buildings, like the White House.
What's his name? President Obama had a basketball court put in there.
Yeah.
And people didn't want that. But you know what? It went through the proper channels. It was approved. It was put in. Huacata. Right. Well, not homeboy. And this is many times that President Homie, he's not a homie. F that mother effer. President Drumpf had had many times where he said he's not going to do this, that he's not going to be harming in any way, shape, or form the original structure of the White House.
Said it several times.
He's not going to be several times. It's just right there and there. And this egregious effort to put up his Epstein Ballroom happened as well. Like Joy Behar said the other. Is there going to be? I hope there's a Stormy Daniels wing to this.
Stormy Daniels Epstein, the Stormy Daniels wing of the Epstein Ballroom. I love it.
Already know.
Love it.
And so you can see it now. They came in last week with bulldozers and started ripping it down. And what's funny is they took down the East Wing. And that is where Melania Trump and all the first ladies have their offices. Not only that, one of the military offices is also ensconced there, as is the calligraphy office, apparently. But it was all wiped down. And if anybody remembers, just a few weeks ago from that region of the East Wing, there was somebody seen throwing bags and clothes down.
I remember this. Yes, out of the window, just throwing a bunch of stuff like a maniac.
Which is Melania's area, and now it's been taken away. And
Like
I
a
wonder
wife.
if that was her assistants just throwing out her shit because she's...
You're out of here, lady. No, it was like a wife when in the movies when the wife catches the
totally
husband
was. That's why I think it was Melania's
cheating.
people.
Yeah, the wife catches the husband cheating and she's throwing all his like records and jackets out of the window and stuff. You see
Straight up.
this old trope.
It's gone now.
See ya.
And there was a part of a park. Oh no, I just threw some beautiful
Absolutely
copy on my thing. It is part of a park. I forget the name of the park that is there, right outside the East Wing, and it looks over this area. Well. On between Wednesday and Thursday, they had screens put up to cover so that nobody can see the demolition that's going on. So from that right side of the park, where you can see the East Wing, it has now been covered so you can't see what's going on because there were too many pictures that were going on from drones that were flying over, seeing that and showing that and reporting that. Just so we know. So yes, apparently this is going to cost $300. Well, it was $200.
It goes up every day. The number goes up every day.
Just like his worth. It goes up what he feels. And now it's going to cost $300 billion. He is doing this through cryptocurrency and corporate sponsors who are apparently doing this. And I believe my brother with the mother from another mother has a list of this.
Oh, this is going around online. You can see the list of corporate sponsors. But again, we talked about boycotts earlier in the show.
We did.
Boycott some of these companies. You know who are giving money to help this atrocity, the Epstein Ballroom get made? T-Mobile or some of the companies, Amazon, Apple. There's a list of them. There's like 20, 30 of them. It's very easily accessible on the internet. I can't list them all now. We'd be here all day. But there's dozens of companies helping. And what are they doing that for? Because they love the United States and they want to see a ballroom? No, they're buying influence. They're giving Daddy Trump what he wants so that they can get influence from the federal government because we have a president that is for sale. I think I need people to understand this, and I wish the media operated under this fact. The Trump administration is for sale. They love bribes. Their favorite, Tom Homan taking bribes in a cash bag and an FBI sting. They threw that one out. There's another horrible thing we can't talk about because we have 50 other things to talk about today.
But we've at least mentioned it. 50,000. This mother effer who can't speak of
Kava bag.
Jesus Christ, with these people and their voices. It's bad enough to hear him, but then you have the other motherfucker who's running the medicine.
Yeah. HHS Secretary Robert
Jesus
R.
Christ.
Jr.
And did you see how the View girls just destroyed Cheryl Hines? I think it was a bit
She's so
untoward.
a bit
untoward, but
when you're enabling evil, people get very mad about that. RFK Jr. is horrendous.
And shout out to those. I don't know why she doesn't take her money and run, but all of that is going on. All of that is going on, and this type of stuff. All of these renovations, all of this is happening, again, to repeat, while the government is shutting down, billions are not being paid to functionary civil servants there.
Right.
They are watching a $300 million renovation that was never called for, that was never approved by Congress happen. And yet again, just to throw this out, if the shoe was on the other foot, if Biden had done that, if Obama had done that.
There'd be impeachment inquiry hearings
Child,
immediately.
you already know.
Impeachment inquiries would have ended the minute he said the word. But let me tell you another thing that's not happening. In the next couple of weeks, children, elderly folks, single mothers, and the groups of people that are dependent on SNAP benefits may not get those checks because of this government shutdown. And then you know what happens after that? Horrific tragedy that the most vulnerable Americans will not get their food assistance because of this, because of Donald Trump and his cult Republican Party. 100% their fault.
Demon Queens.
100% their fault. What happens after that horrible thing? You know what also happens? Federal courts run out of funding. So the Law and Order Party will be defunding federal courts like they've defunded the police countless other times.
Do you think that would then give them the impetus to just drive whatever they can? Can they just pass whatever they can? Because no courts will be funded in order to block those
You
things?
have to open the House, and the House Speaker, Puppet Boy Mike Johnson, doesn't want a 218th vote on the Epstein files discharge petition. So I don't know. I don't know when this incapable of governing, radical, negligent party will actually do their damn jobs, their basic effing jobs, and open the damn government and have the government work. Now, it's absolutely ridiculous.
They
now,
won't.
I won't accept a single scrap of blame for the Democratic Party in this situation.
Okay.
They are standing on principle to save tens of millions of people from going bankrupt by healthcare or dying because they lose their healthcare coverage.
Just as all of this, scores of thousands of people have already died without U.S. aid in the past 9 months.
The amount of death is astronomical.
Yep.
U.S. aid cuts were the dumbest thing that any president has ever done in the history of the United States of America because it was
I won't say that,
leftover.
but definitely one of the most modern ones, yeah.
It was the definition of soft power, the U.S. aid program. So even if you were just a cynical, I don't care about the starving kids person, it was completely in line with affirming U.S. power across the world.
That's right.
It was completely in line with making the U.S. actually look good. And it took leftover food that would go to rot and send it to poor children and poor people to survive. Now, here's what happens when
hundreds of thousands of pounds of this
they're going to be dying.
Yeah.
They're dying, and they're going to be dying, and it's going to keep dying because we don't have these programs. Picking it up are going to be China.
But hundreds of thousands of pounds are being thrown away.
That's
already
also
been.
true. I would say hundreds of thousands of lives are at risk to millions as long as this keeps going on, and hundreds of thousands of pounds of food are just going to waste. Like, they just left it. This administration just left food to rot rather than just send it out. Mm-hmm. This administration. And secondarily on that actual topic, because we'll move on from it in a minute, the U.S. aid cuts, when you're a starving person in a very poor country, you're going to go where the food is. And so if we have starving people in poor countries getting their food from the good old US of A, that is much better than them getting their food from terrorist organizations, warlords, mafias, and dictatorships.
And that's what China really wants that as well, because if they are feeding...
People love China.
Then
Like in poor developing countries and the poorest countries in the world, the poorest people can say, thank you, China, for our food. That's a loss for the United States of America and a win for China. And good for them for picking up on it. Because it's strategically smart for anyone who doesn't give a shit that poor people are dying of hunger. It's strategically smart, and it's morally the correct thing to do. When you are a mega superpower, you absolutely must do something to help contribute to the world's ills, to help make it better, to help starving. When you have a land of plenty, you should be helping starving people eat.
You know what? This is a perfect segue to something I would like to talk about.
Yes,
because
please.
we hail from I believe, the greatest city on the planet.
I do too.
I do believe we live in a better city because it's better to live here only because it's a better city to live in.
I'm
It's
happier
an easier
here.
city to live in.
Yeah, I'm happier in Barcelona for sure.
But New York City, I think we all know is the greatest city on the planet.
What are you going to do?
And we are in the middle of a New York City mayor race. Now,
Yes, we are.
moved my Brooklyn address out to Long Island, where we actually need this in a purple area.
That's where you live. Yeah, great.
And you can vote in the city, though.
Yeah, absolutely. You, if you have the idea, us members abroad, if you're not exactly sure you're gonna go back, you're not gonna go back. It's all a matter of perspective of what you think you could possibly do in the future. But people in the States absolutely have a choice. People in New York City have a choice right now, and their choice is between a young, plucky upstart and a ridiculous vigilante Republican and Andrew Cuomo, who needs to be ran out of New York State with pitchforks and torches. These are my choices. Let me tell you right now, I endorse Mamdani. I endorse
Mamdani as well. I think he'd be a great mother effer who's going to take a lot of that stuff that you were just talking about, the billions and stuff, to help other people, and his idea is to do that. I also believe that as an assemblyman who's from New York City, he is going to do his best to work with people that are top-notch mother effers, because he knows he's taken over 8.5, I want to say 9 million people in a city that runs the country. Again, I repeat, if you take away New York State and California from that country, China is number one immediately.
Yeah,
that country revolves on the brains of New York City and the poop factory that is California.
I'm just saying. California is like the fourth biggest economy in the world. New York State is a financial center of the world.
That's what I'm
New York
talking
City
about.
specifically. But here's the thing. I don't want to hear... I was listening to it because, I was a little skeptical. He is young. I'm not 100% into people with limited experience for that kind of thing, but I know you can hire competent, educated, professional people to help you, and I do believe he'll do that. You can't change Andrew Cuomo from being the scandal-plagued, resigned in disgrace that Andrew Cuomo is. Andrew Cuomo won't even criticize Trump now because he's playing such a disgusting political game that he actually won't come out and attack Trump for doing things like politicized prosecutions of his political opponents.
Mamdani even said you can see any time that he is obviously not my brother Rob, but this motherfucker Andrew Cuomo.
Andrew Cuomo, this motherfucker,
is the choice for Trump. Yeah. He's the choice for Trump. And a full disclosure, my twin brother actually worked for the Cuomos at Mentoring USA. Chris Cuomo was his boss.
Oh, and the worst one.
Rubbed shoulders. I don't know.
I'm joking. Bad joke. He's not the worst one.
Andrew. But he did rub shoulders with the family, so it was a very interesting thing. So I'm just disclosing that. So I'm not privy to that family. I'm just saying we did have family working with that family.
I mean, I think if you were shilling for him, it would be a smart.
Hell to the no, and nor would my twin brother.
And then I don't want to hear all, because we're here in Barcelona too. Barcelona is the tech hub. It has businesses galore, online businesses, brick and mortar businesses, and it's a socialist. It's a socialist system, a democratic socialist
system, correct.
And so I don't want to hear how radical and insane that free buses are when the president of the United States is taking percentage stakes in mega corporations in America. He has 10%. The U.S. government owns 10% of Intel.
Yeah.
He's trying to do that across the board. He's trying to tell corporations who they can and can't hire.
But this is also why he has these mother effers coming to his terrible cement rose garden to have these dinners and soirees.
Bribes.
Where
Bribes.
Zuckerberg, just last month or 2 months ago, leaned over and said, I said 400 billion. I didn't know if that was okay.
Is it okay, Daddy?
Yes,
is it okay?
Yeah.
Zuckerberg. Ugh. But anyway, so I don't want to hear that Mamdani is some kind of radical. I've looked into him. I've done the homework. I don't believe he is. I believe he's somebody that is green, needs to make sure he surrounds himself with the right
Trump was green
people.
too.
Exactly, and he's doing so much damage. And also, but I've lived in New York for 35 years. I know a lot of people in New York City are buried under the cost of New York City. Being in New York City, living in New York City full time. So the normal candidates, the regular candidates that aren't Democratic Socialists, sure aren't doing anything for you.
That's damn right.
So let's give it a shot.
Think about it. And he talked about this a lot, especially with reference to house and home. The average, if you're in Manhattan in New York, the average new rent is going to cost you between $4,000 and $8,000 a month. I want Europeans to think about that. That's average for a mom and pop
studio
or mom and pop and pop. So 4,000 to 8,000, and we have our own issues here where we complain between the 850 to 2,000 range here, but nothing when you're paying 2, 4, 6 times more. It is a real thing. So he did talk about that. He eviscerated. And
you watched the debates.
I did watch portions of the debate, a lot of portions of the debate, because I was actually addicted to Sliwa's voice. It just made me feel at home for a minute.
So, yeah.
He
does talk like a New Yorker. He's a New Yorker.
And honestly, I would prefer him over Cuomo on any chip. Cuomo looked like a deer in headlights.
He's a puppet of a donor class that has done everything possible to make America worse and make themselves better. So no thanks. I'll go with the guy that Trump hates. I'll go with the guy that Trump is terrified of. I'll go with the guy that Republicans are slandering, who seems like a decent enough guy. I've had problems with some Mamdani advocates in the past because I don't think they've been particularly great, but that's not a reflection of the man. Like the Yankees can't control who's a fan of the Yankees.
He looks like one of my ex-lovers who's still one of my dear friends, and he's
so
cute to look at. That's just another thing. That's my gay aspect from that. But at the same time, the way he eviscerates him, even when he was receiving the shite from Sliwa and he was able to smile through it.
Someone needs to go back to his apartment with his 15 cats and give up on being a vigilante and the mayor. It's a joke. But I'm actually glad he's sticking in the party because there are people with R's by their names who will never vote for Andrew Cuomo because Sil was in it. Mm-hmm. They'll just vote for the R. And great. That means screw Andrew Cuomo.
And keep lying and lying and lying about it. This is one of the things that I wanted to say because I believe if we... one of the third thing that I wanted to talk about was one of the reasons why I believe, and it'll probably just segue into my faux debunking thing, is this a little mini rant about the obvious health issues because we have KKK Caroline Leavitt coming out simply always saying that his health is fantastic.
Everyone always does. Everyone always thinks the morbidly obese 80-year-old is in great health.
Exactly. And the brother has not changed his diet. It was just reported that he was on flight with some other Republican who was stunned at how much Trump can eat. In fact, he fuses quarter pounders with Big Macs into one big giant one. That's what he said.
Sounds delicious, but wow, not good for the president.
And as someone who hasn't eaten beef since high school, I can't.
Oh, fair.
I can't.
Yeah, that's fair.
But one of the things that I would like to say is that I personally am believing, and I'm saying this, I believe that Donald Trump, Britney Spears, and Justin Bieber are not long for this world. Now, I don't know which of the three.
I don't know how the other two have any relation to this.
Honey, look it up.
I guess I have to.
But talking about, I do not believe, and I've said this since September on the show, maybe even in July, I believe the brother is suffering from congestive heart failure. Now,
how could he not be?
Someone from TikTok has been making the rounds, and I would like to just play about a 1.5, 2-minute video. Jefe, si podemos tocar ese video. About this TikToker who's a doctor and has been working with hundreds of thousands of patients for years. Just take a look at what this brother has to say, and then we'll talk on the flip side.
The president's congestive heart failure is getting worse. I'm a home health physical therapist with a doctorate in my field. I see congestive heart failure patients on a daily basis. The reason I know that he has congestive heart failure is because of the swelling in his feet and ankles. And the reason I know it's getting worse is because he's sitting behind the desk on camera now. He lashed out against MSNBC for giving him hash about his ankles. This is how we know that something is true, because it gets to Trump. Remember recently where he was talking about going to heaven for some fucking reason? He says, people said I'm not doing very well. I don't think he's talking about the media. I think he's talking about the doctors who are treating him. The only reason his health has been maintained at all is because he has the privilege of getting IV diuretics, spironolactone, Lasix, Bumex, something like that. That's why his hands have been bruised and covered with makeup. Badly, I might add. We know that it's getting worse because he knows he cannot hide the degree of swelling. That's why he's sitting behind the desk. Oh, he also has chronic kidney disease, which is also contributing to the swelling in the feet and ankles. I can't tell you how many times I have seen a patient in their home because they were hospitalized for AKI, or acute kidney injury. And the kidney injury was caused by nephrotoxic medications, namely diuretics, spironolactone, Bumex, Lasix. The president is definitely getting sicker, and we know he's not going to change his diet because he's such a fucking idiot. I think he's going to be around for 6 to 8 months tops. Thank you for your attention to this matter.
Yeah. So that is
Thank you.
Let's cut that off, please. Yeah, and shout out to the only other gay independent media guy that I know, who is Keith Edwards. And
Keith's great. Keith is great.
Man, he's been working behind the scenes for years as well, for about 15 years.
Yeah, go watch his stuff. He's really
and
educational
he looks
informative.
much younger than he is. Damn it, like Letitia James, which we need to talk about. But right there, you've got a doctor who's pimping out truth, because he works with hundreds of patients over his many decades careers, this young man, this doctor.
I trust doctors.
Yeah, that's what we should be doing. Instead, for when we're dealing with medicine or anything of the healthcare, we have a guy who picks up roadkill.
Think you should take vaccines and Tylenol.
You are talking South Park right now.
I don't think I hate anybody more than RFK Jr. in the world. I mean, and Trump is a close second.
I try not to say that word, but I detest the mother effer.
People that are negligence could kill millions of people, I feel like, are at a different level. But that's fair. You can have your personal ethics code. I have my own personal ethics code. But no, Trump's health is clearly in massive decline. Here's the thing that infuriates me as a Biden booster, because you know me. I love my Joe Biden, and congratulations to him on completing his first round of chemo. Best of health to you, Joe Biden.
Yes, my papa.
Big fan. People need to apologize to Joe Biden. Joe's health is clearly in massive decline, mentally, physically, and it's not
Joe's
even
health, Trump's health.
Did I say Trump's?
You said Joe's.
Trump's health. Trump's health is in clear decline. As this doctor just gave you a lot of examples, but you can tell because he can't stay on a topic ever as well. He genuinely can't. So he doesn't have a lifelong stutter in his elderly age that contributes to poor communication. He has genuine health issues, and he's never released his health information that hasn't been doctored to
That
health.
hasn't been doctored. And also, one of the things that happened since we last did a show here at the studio was that Trump was put on a Time magazine, which he loves, that shite.
Yes.
And it was from an angle that gave him a vagina neck.
They call it nussy, I think. They call it a nussy.
And
You never heard
they
that
gave him a
before?
nussy and flat back of his hair. But also, that also featured the ear that was shot off, according to Dr. Ronnie Jackson, the alcoholic pillhead. That ear is fine.
A lot of people are saying.
That ear is fine. No, not you can see it. And I think Time did that on purpose, because that is the ear that was blown off a year ago.
Yeah.
All right.
There's questions, but I also don't think he's brave enough to be involved in anything ridiculous, and I think random accidents happen. But let's wrap up on
Please.
a couple of very interesting things. Donald Trump's health should be investigated completely by the media. They should go all in on it like they did every time Biden mixed up somebody's friggin' name or looked bad at a debate. Can we get that level of coverage of the current president's health, please? But let's end on two quick things. Number one I want to end on is the U.S. Senate race in Maine. The gentleman Graham Plattner, you need to step out of the damn race.
Oh, man.
You need to step Nazi tattoo. You need to get the hell out of the damn race with your Reddit shitposting nonsense as a 30-something-year-old man. He said a bunch of nonsense like black people don't tip. He victim-blamed rape victims, and implied that the way a woman dresses has some sort of way to do it. And that's the most disgusting bullshit I've ever heard in my life. This man needs to get the F out of that goddamn race yesterday. I'm sick to death of him, Mr. Lawyer's kid, Blackwater mercenary, man of the people. No, he is.
I think he's an interloper.
I think he's Fetterman on. I think he's Fetterman on
At
another
least
level.
Fetterman's a Dem. This guy's an interloper.
Yeah, I don't like him at all.
I question him completely because
And
he
you're-
switched teams.
And you're not going. You can switch teams. I switched teams, but
Yeah,
I
but he was much
genuine.
older than you.
And I also was upfront about it. So that's the thing.
What could he have said? Thank you. What you said last night.
Right. So you can
Girl.
be upfront about it. We had our first show where I discussed that I was a very confused young man and a Republican, and I believed a lot of bad, dumb, destructive policies. But then I looked into them, and I changed my mind, and I changed my heart with conversations with other people. This man could have said something similar. He could have came out in the front and said, I believed a lot of dumb crap. I was coming out of military service. I was a shit poster on the internet. The only reason he ever did come out from this was mid-scandal.
Yep.
And you can't trust somebody who will only be honest mid-scandal. So
Especially
Graham,
this day and age.
Yeah, get the F out. Secondarily, last thing, Letitia James. There's charges against Letitia James that are completely fraudulent. The Trump administration needs to actually have that case thrown out. The entire premise is that she got a second home and defrauded banks and saying she wanted to make it a rental property, which is both insane and impossible to prove. People change their minds all the time. It is clear political prosecution what Trump is doing. Get that case thrown out of court now.
And defrauded banks over 20 years of $17,000.
Right, over like 30 years, I think. I think it was 30 years.
So
it was
like
longer.
100 and something.
So that's debunked. That's forever debunked. Gone. Letitia James charges are complete bullshit, and they need to be thrown out of court. I think we're getting ready to end.
And I believe we're getting ready to do it now. Witty banter on Castaween in Barcelona. Guys, by the time we come back, we'll be past Barcelona's Halloween session, Day of the Dead, the Fringe Festival. There is a huge party going on.
Anti-fascist Halloween party and a book release. Our friend Ben Gorman, we'll share the links on our page. Our friend Ben Gorman and his wife are throwing a book release because, he's a prolific author. And it's a costume party. It's going to be a lot of fun at the English bookstore. Take a look. I don't know if they'll be able to read it.
It's actually the Come In English bookstore. It's in Carrer Balmes, number 129 bis. But Come In English Bookshop has been one of the go-tos for many people who run academies and stuff, and they have been working on that for years. So you can get that. That's on the corner of Balmes, right by Provenza FGC stop. And then there's an after party at Level at Rosselló 206, right around the corner. So there's going to be fun, dress up. There's going to be drinks and things of that nature.
October 31st, actual Halloween day. Dress up, come have fun. We'll be there. See you there.
All right.
Something on that?
I think, I did want to, we don't have time for this, but
we'll do
all
an
I'm going to
update.
say is one time I'm going to maybe do a little video that I'll throw on Blue Sky and YouTube about Lucas going on a date with a closeted straight MAGA a weekend ago.
We have to have this conversation. Yes, we will update people on Instagram Live, or maybe we'll post a Zoom, but let's have this conversation about your blind date, which is particularly hilarious. I know about it. The people, that's a teaser for you to check it out, folks.
Exactly, and it's going to be fucking funny. Folks, also, we do want you following us at our beautiful websites, and you can catch us on the socials at The Way Shit Works Now on Instagram and Blue Sky, and The Way Ish, ISH Works Now podcast on YouTube. Remember, folks, take care of yourselves. Be good to yourselves, because if you're not doing that, how can you do that for anybody else? And we will catch you on the flip side. Also, shout out Tori Sparks. We just had a beautiful dinner last night. And as always, we're going to leave you with a Leonard Cohen classic a la the Queen of Flamenco Soul here in Spain, Tori Sparks. This is Everybody Knows. Folks, this is us at The Way Shit Works Now. Power to the people. Bye.
Adios.
Everybody rolls with their fingers crossed. Everybody knows the war is over. Everybody knows the good guys lost. Everybody knows that the fight was fixed. The poor stay poor, the rich get rich. That's how it goes. And everybody knows. Everybody knows that the boat is leaking. Everybody knows that the captain lied. Everybody got this broken feeling, like their father or the dog just died. Everybody talking to their pockets. Everybody wants a box of chocolates and a long stem rose. And everybody knows. Everybody knows that you love me, baby. Everybody knows that you really do. Everybody knows that you've been faithful, or give or take a night or two. Everybody knows that you've been discreet. There were so many people you just had to meet without your clothes. And everybody knows. Everybody knows. Everybody knows. That's how things go.